So in Australia, there is something called VLAD, VLAD law, and it incorporates quite a few different things. But the bottom line is, it's aimed mostly at motorcycle clubs, like the one percenters. Although there is something that says if a non-member is associating with, I think it can be anybody, but one of the one percenters, they can face like 6 months in jail, and is somehow, I don't know what the differences are, but they can also get 15 years on top of whatever else they can be charged with. So if they actually are committing some sort of crime, I guess, you can get 15 years on top of whatever that sentence would be in itself. Now, I think this is kind of like what the U.S. has done with the RICO thing, where they can kind of clump everybody in one group and say you're all guilty of it. This has been going on since 2013. Now, a lot of the, in between the lines stuff, I guess you can say, is it's a 3-year penalty for consorting. That's pretty much what this VLAD is all about. It's consorting. So you can't ride in a group of more than 3, and you can't be affiliated with a group of more than 3. I think this is how it goes. I will have a video about this. Ross Kemp, Extreme World, he's the one that reported on this. So yeah, I guess the bottom line is, just being innocent until proven guilty. It seems to be, a lot like the DWI checkpoints and stuff, safety checkpoints, I guess is what they're calling them now. Just pulling over, anybody, and, if they ask to search your car and you refuse, that gives them the right, it makes them doubt you enough to where they can legally search your car. So, also there's a thing in this country where if you're living in government housing, they can come in and search your house, without any probable cause or anything like that. So, yeah, it's a little, they talk about these groups intimidating people, but it's pretty intimidating when, you've got a couple German shepherds and guys in, SWAT gear and body armor and stuff at a safety checkpoint. So, I think that just goes along with it. Like at airports, they use beagles, for drug dogs or golden retrievers or something like that, so that people aren't freaked out. So, obviously, the German shepherds are there for a reason, In some of these places, too, South Wales is one of the places that it's big. People are getting businesses taken away from them for consorting with known bikers, and members can't wear their colors and whatever club they're with, and ride around. I guess that alone gets you, thrown in jail or something. And yeah, I guess that's the thing. Yeah, like with the new gun laws coming around here, President Obama says that there's no reason to be nervous or anything like that. We're only after the, this type of gun and that type of weapon or whatever it is. But I mean, it's proven, places that do have these strict laws, the criminals are still going to have the guns. Just like these guys. I mean, I've seen people roll up to checkpoints and turn around and head out. I mean, why do you suppose that is? And nobody went after them. So, I mean, the criminals are still going to be criminals, and it's just going to make everybody else that much more vulnerable. And that's the thing with this sort of stuff. I mean, everybody talks about Nazi Germany. Well, that is what Hitler did. Was he took away knowledge, he took away the guns, and next thing you know, you're that much more helpless. So when laws like this are being put in effect, and they say, "Oh, don't worry about it. We're not after anything important." Well, that kind of is I don't know. It's just ironic how like white collar crime, and even at a local level. I mean, we had a lady that ripped off millions of dollars from a small power company, that we're all going to have to make up as customers, whatever money they didn't recover, and they didn't recover at all. And she got just over a year in jail. Well, you gotta sling a lot of dope to get $1 million. And meanwhile, the government just got another payoff, our government, of $5 billion from, what is it? The Sachs, or what the hell ever they're called. One of those big companies that, did all the wrong things and got the huge bailout, and everybody got hundreds of $1 million in bonuses. Well, the government gets all that $5 billion, and Goldman Sachs, that's what it was. And lots of other companies have gotten these, penalties, which is like me giving $100, pretty much. $5 billion to these guys. I mean, they were having parties that, cost almost that much. They don't even give it back to the people whose 401ks got raided. And, there you go. I guess when you get into it too deep, you just can't figure it out. So anyways, yeah, I just thought that was a, pretty blatant disregard for, these people's rights. And that is one thing that's happened in Australia. Their guns have been taken away because, that dude that shot up that island, and now I don't know, maybe it was the right thing to do, I can't figure it out. But when stuff like this goes on, you have to say to yourself, kind of like, what's next, and what am I willing to give up to, I guess the thing is safety, but I don't see where it's making anybody any safer. I mean, if these guys were getting in trouble, and, they say, well, don't hang around with Joe because Joe's the one that you fucking robbed the bank with. Okay, I get that. But just, guys that don't even have criminal records because they got colors on, don't hang around each other because you got colors on. And again, I think it goes deeper than that, to where, the guys that don't have colors, even if they're not consorting, I think it would go to the point where if they wanted to target you for some reason, like they knew you were shady, or maybe they just didn't like the way you looked or who you were or whatever, I mean, that law can still be used for those people. So even though they're targeting, the bike clubs, I think it goes deeper than that. And they did talk about that a little bit in this Ross Kemp documentary. And, an attorney says, yeah, that is, it can go beyond that. So that's where you have to, really wonder if it's worth it at all. And like I said, meanwhile, they're regulating all these things, and, Yet, you know, Reaganomics, that was all about deregulation, so these companies can rip people off and then say, oh, well, we can't fail now because everybody will go to hell and you have to bail us out even though we're all crooked sons of bitches, so. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, and also, side note, our governor, Shumlin, endorsed Hillary Clinton, so that makes me want Bernie to win that much more, because and also another Senator Leahy endorsed Hillary as well, and with those two, especially Shumlin, he was going to rip off his neighbor to buy him out of his property, and this guy was like mentally handicapped, and it was real shady the way Shumlin did this. And when the news started to report on it, he backed out of the deal and said, oh, you know, I'll do whatever and blah, blah, blah. And he also got divorced last year, and he's already remarried this year. So if that's the kind of scruples is supporting Hillary Clinton, I say go Bernie.